Most preppers are doing it wrong. They're spending hundreds on gear they'll never reach in time. Here's what they don't teach you at the outdoor retail counter. The people who actually survive aren't carrying branded bug-out bags. They're grabbing what's already under their roof. SERE school, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, the military's most brutal survival program. Candidates get stripped of everything. Then they solve problems with whatever they find. Today you're getting 13 household items that veterans actually train with. Each one replaces gear costing 10 to 50 times more. By the end of this, you'll look at your own kitchen differently. Most people will never know this. You will. The military doesn't train soldiers to shop, it trains them to see. Not product labels, material properties, tensile strength, combustibility, chemical composition, impermeability. FM 2176, the Army's foundational survival manual, dedicates entire sections to improvised tools built from non-dedicated equipment. The principle behind every one of those sections is simple. Gear is temporary, knowledge is permanent. After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, FEMA after-action reports confirmed something most preppers still haven't absorbed. The most resilient survivors in the first 72 hours weren't the ones with the most expensive kits. They were the ones who used garbage bags for rain collection, bleach for water treatment, duct tape for wound management and structural patching, common items, uncommon thinking. That gap between trained and untrained perception is what kills people in a crisis, and today you're closing that gap. Number 1, condoms. Not what you expected, that's the point. An unlubricated condom can hold approximately 2 liters of water without bursting. That's roughly half a gallon from something that weighs less than a sugar packet. This isn't internet survival folklore. This is taught in multiple SERE curricula as an emergency water carrying method. Special operations personnel carried condoms in Vietnam, not as a joke, not as morale gear. They waterproofed rifle muzzles during river crossings. They protected matches, tinder, and small electronics from total moisture exposure. Here's where it gets interesting. Fill a condom with water, and you've got an improvised magnifying lens. In direct sunlight, the water-filled condom focuses light tightly enough to concentrate heat onto a tinder bundle. Fire from a condom. That's not a gimmick. That's field-expedient optics. Most civilians spend $15 to $30 on dedicated dry bags and waterproof cases. Those work fine when you have them. They're useless when you don't. A condom pack's flat. It weighs virtually nothing. You can carry 10 of them and never notice. One item gives you water transport, waterproof storage, and fire-starting capability. 3 critical survival functions from something most people would never consider packing. That's the difference between consumer thinking and material property thinking. A veteran doesn't see a condom. A veteran sees a 2-liter waterproof elastic membrane with optical properties. Once you train your eyes to see materials instead of products, you'll never look at your house the same way again. Speaking of training your eye, I've put together a complete guide on field expedient survival, and you'll find it linked in the first line of the description. Number 2, duct tape. You expected this one, but you're probably carrying it wrong. Military personnel don't pack full rolls. They wrap strips around water bottles, trekking poles, or lighter bodies. Eliminates the bulk entirely. You get 20 to 30 feet of tape with zero wasted space. Standard duct tape has a tensile strength of approximately 20 pounds per inch of width. That's strong enough to function as improvised cordage edge when twisted into rope. It works as a butterfly closure for lacerations. Infantry soldiers use it as a blister prevention layer on long foot movements. You wrap it around friction points before blisters form, not after. That distinction matters. After is treatment. Before is how trained people move. It patches shelter tiers in seconds. It secures improvised splints. It seals cracked containers. It reinforces failing seams on packs and clothing. 5 functions from a roll costing about $6 at any hardware store. Most preppers buy dedicated moleskin for blisters, separate wound closure strips, and standalone repair kits. That's 3 products doing what one already does better. The trained approach isn't buying more gear. It's knowing more about the gear you already have. Duct tape isn't new information. How the military carries it and applies it is. And that application knowledge is what separates a consumer from an operator. Number 3. steel wool, and a 9-volt battery. This is the fire starter most people have never heard of. Touch fine-grade steel wool, grade 0000, to both terminals of a 9-volt battery. You get instant ignition. The physics are straightforward. Thin steel filaments have extremely high electrical resistance relative to their mass. Current flows through the filaments and heats them past their ignition point of approximately 700 degrees Fahrenheit in under 2 seconds. The resulting flame is hot enough to light a tinder bundle in wind. It works in moderate rain. It doesn't require fine motor skill. That last point matters more than most people realize. In a genuine survival scenario, your hands are shaking, you're cold, you're scared. Adrenaline strips your fine motor control within minutes. Most fire starting methods demand the dexterity you won't have. Ferro rods need precise striking angles. Bow drills need coordinated limb movement. Matches need steady fingers. This method needs none of that. Touch steel to terminals, you've got flame. A pack of steel wool runs under $4. A 9-volt battery costs about $3. For under $7 total, you've got a reliable ignition source that works in conditions that defeat matches, lighters, and most commercial fire starters. While most people are fumbling with wet matches in the rain, you've got fire in seconds. No practice required. No special technique, just material science working in your favor. Number 4, plastic wrap. This might be the most important item on this entire list. In tactical combat casualty care doctrine, a penetrating chest wound demands an occlusive dressing immediately. That's a non-porous barrier sealed over the wound site to prevent tension pneumothorax. In plain terms, air entering the chest cavity through the wound collapses the lung. Without intervention, it kills. Standard issue halo or Bolin chest seals are purpose-built for this scenario. They cost between $12 and $16 each. But when they're unavailable or exhausted, combat lifesaver trained soldiers are taught to improvise. They use any non-porous plastic material taped on 3 sides. Kitchen plastic wrap is functionally identical to the material in a commercial chest seal. It's non-porous. It conforms to irregular skin surfaces. It adheres to moist, bloody skin. It comes in sheets large enough to cover any wound site on the body. You tape 3 sides to the skin and leave the 4th edge open. That creates a flutter valve. Air trapped in the chest escapes on exhale, but outside air can't enter on inhale. That buys time until professional medical care arrives. This is the single most important medical improvisation a civilian can learn from military training. A roll of plastic wrap costs about $3. It's sitting in virtually every kitchen drawer right now. A 40-hour combat lifesaver course teaches this exact technique to non-medic soldiers. You just learned it in under a minute. Most people will never know this. Most people don't think about chest trauma until they're watching someone die from it. Now you know. Number 5. Household bleach, plain, unscented, sodium hypochlorite, nothing added, no fragrance, no splash-resistant formulas. Just basic bleach. The Environmental Protection Agency and Military Water Purification Doctrine both endorse sodium hypochlorite as an emergency disinfection method. The ratio you need to memorize is 8 drops of regular unscented bleach per gallon of clear water. That's bleach containing 6 to 8.25% sodium hypochlorite concentration. After adding the drops, you wait 30 minutes of contact time before drinking. This kills most bacterial and viral pathogens. It does not eliminate cryptosporidium, which requires boiling or dedicated filtration. But in the first 72 hours of a water emergency, bacteria and viruses are the threats most likely to kill you. Now here's the number that changes everything. A single 64-ounce bottle of basic bleach treats approximately 3,800 gallons of water. That bottle costs under $5 at any grocery store. No dedicated survival water purification product on the market approaches that efficiency. Most preppers spend $30 to $60 on purification tablets that treat a fraction of that volume. They're paying 10 to 12 times more per gallon for less total capability. The survival industry generates billions by selling you solutions to problems a $5 bottle already solves. Number 6, petroleum jelly, cotton balls and petroleum jelly. This is a fire-starting combination taught across military and wilderness survival programs. Here's the science. A dry cotton ball burns for approximately 4 seconds. Saturate that same cotton ball with petroleum jelly and it burns for over 4 minutes. That's a 60 times increase in burn duration from a single application. 4 minutes of sustained flame produces enough heat to ignite damp kindling in poor weather conditions. That alone justifies a jar in every home, but petroleum jelly goes well beyond firecraft. It protects exposed skin against wind and cold. It lubricates stuck tools and frozen zippers. It prevents rust on exposed metal surfaces. Military personnel use it for field weapons maintenance when dedicated lubricants run out. It treats cracked lips and split cuticles in arid and cold environments. A 13-ounce jar of Vaseline costs approximately $4 to $5 at most retailers. It has an essentially indefinite shelf life if you keep the lid sealed. 5 distinct survival functions. Under $5 never expires. Most people